Now that we have our height field for the dusty biome, let's just add a little bit variation on top. It would be shame just to leave it as a height field. So maybe we can create some quick makeshift rocks and scatter them on the surface. I would like to showcase you that workflow as well. So let's start by creating a geometry container. I'm going to call it a dusty scatter, and let's dive in. Okay, I like to hide other objects. First thing, I need to merge my height field. We don't want to scatter it on that. What I'm gonna merge is the dusty mid, which is just the height field before any of those masks, because I don't need them. I can merge a step before, or maybe you can even merge the final result. It's all the same. But you can see I have all these masks and everything. I want to drag along all this data. So let me just isolate the most important layer that I need so far. So I'm going to isolate a height layer, and I'm just going to disable the mask as well. So as you can see here, we went from this to this. Right now, we only have the two basic layers that we need. And one thing that I'm also going to do before starting to mask is going to resample down the entire height field, because we really don't need this very detailed resolution just for scattering purposes. So let's drop a height field resample node, flag it, make sure that one is resolution scale setup, and let's put the resolution scale to 0.25. So we're just gonna use the 1/4 of the resolution. You see, we went from this detail height field to this not so detailed, but yet again detailed enough for actual scattering. Next, let's drop the initial mask. We're going to do a height field mask by feature. That's the one that we need. And let's just figure out a very simple looking mask. I'm going to use a mask by slope. I'm just going to completely open the min and max slope angles, but I'm going to set up like a custom level of the further ramp, just so I can select, well, maybe dominantly the flat areas. So you can probably choose the ones that you want, but by working in this tutorial, I kind of realized that something like 0.096 for the first point, and then 0.124 for the second point, and then a 0.165 for the third point is something that I think works well enough. Okay, so with that mask on, let's just drop a network box around this. We will call this a scatter mask. And then let's just drop a height field scatter node. Okay, so this needs like a terrain input and a mask input for the points. So let's highlight that one so we can see what's going on. And these are the points that we are scattering right now. So let's set up a little bit our scatter node. We want to use the coverage using the mask layer. Let's increase our coverage a little bit, maybe to 0.56. That looks okay. Maybe we can reduce the outer radius. I set the outer radius to 0.328. So as you can see, the dots will be slightly more dense, but I increased the fall off to 0.065. I would like to use also a normal distribution this time around. Range, let's increase the upper range to 2.6. And then we can also kind of increase the spread to 10, just to kind of a little bit have some space between them. I don't want to relax points. I like them to be a little bit more chaotically distributed. I would like to disable keep incoming terrain and incoming scatter points, but we can keep the match normals and directions with slope for now. And these are like our scatter points for now. But now we have to have something that we can scatter. So maybe we can create like a makeshift rock. So let's drop a box node. Set that box like uniform scale to 0.35. Let's see how that looks. Okay, it's a bit bigger box, but I'm gonna like drop its Y scale to around half, and let's just increase the pivot a little bit. Okay. So that kind of looks okay. Let's just add some variation to it. So a point jitter node just to add some initial variation at default. I think this is kind of enough. Actually, I'm gonna like flatten the box a little bit more to maybe 0.3 just to get a little bit more flat rock. Okay. Next thing that I want to do is I actually want to like plug this into here to kind of see what we got. Okay, select it. Let me show you. So these are our kind of rocks, stones so far. I'm gonna drop a nether box around this as well. So this is our very simple rock. And this is our height field scatter. So let's dive in here. So what we want to do is that we want them to be like instanced on the points, but I also want to randomize like the up vector, maybe like 18, 20 degrees, something like that should be enough, but increase the randomize yaw all the way up so we have like a random rotation all around. Okay. I think that my coverage is a bit too big, so I'm going to significantly decrease it to 0.56. Okay, this feels way better now for the coverage. Okay, this looks something that I can work with. So right now all these rocks are kind of unique. You can render them like this, but I would also like to add a little bit more variation. And there's like, as always in Houdini, a bunch of different ways that you can actually do that. You can scatter a more nicer looking rock, or you can scatter more than one. I'm going to do something which I think is pretty cool. So I'm gonna kind of add a little bit variation on top of these scattered ones. And they're actually even gonna add even some color so we can like texture it nicely. Since these are instants, I need to unpack them first. So I'm gonna drop the unpack points, not unpack points, sorry, just the unpack node. I'm gonna drop that one and make sure that my iteration of unpacking is set to 2, so I got everything that I need. And now I'm gonna use like the standard like VDB modeling workflow. I'm going to like convert this first to VDB. So I'm gonna use the VDB from polygons node. Here it is. I just want to make sure that before I, not that. So VDB from polygons, drop here. I'm just going to increase the voxel to 1 because it's a pretty huge height. I don't want my computer to hang. Let this calculate. Okay, this seems like it will be a nice resolution. And now I'm going to convert this back to poly. So I convert VDB node, drop it right after this one, and convert to polygons. Okay, this looks like something we can work with for the scale that we are aiming, but everything looks a little bit blobby. Maybe we can work with that. Luckily, we have this nice labs mesh sharpen node that can help us. So for the step size, we can leave it to this, but let's significantly reduce iterations to maybe something like 7. That like seems like a good result. And as a final step, I'm going to drop a poly reduce node just to kind of increase the rockiness look as well on top of this. And we don't need this much polygons for the scale that we are working with. So like, let's see what 1/3 looks like. Maybe that would be enough. Give it some time to calculate. Yeah, okay. This this looks okay. So we have like different scales of rock. We have a little bit of variation. We have some sharpness and stuff. Only thing that's kind of left for us to do is just add some normals, so we get some nicer, decent looking shading. I think that like 28 or like 30-degree angle is okay for rocks. So you'll get these rocky edges, but also some flat shaded areas on top as well. Let's add a little bit of color as well. So color, drop that. I mean, we can like probably pick some dusty looking color, but maybe we can add some randomness to the color as well. Okay, so how we're going to add randomness to color? It's going to be pretty simple. We're going to be adjusting a float. Even though the color is a vector, we will adjust float at first. And I'm going to adjust a attribute color, of course, because that's the one we are adjusting. Adjusting value operation, I'm going to set the initial and pattern type. Let's go with random, min max 1. Seems like a good idea. And distribution uniform without remapping. This kind of, I hope it looks okay. It's not showing, of course, because this is like a float value, but now in the color node, we can select the color type to ramp from attribute and actually use the color. Now you can actually see all the randomness in here, and you can like now like put the colors that you actually want. You can like use the labs node to source it from a photograph. I'm just going to use the ones that I used. First one is a bit a darker brown, lighter brown, sorry. So 874017 FF on the hex scale. That's nice, and a little bit dark one on top. So these are the colors that I found like matching nicely with the textures that we made in COPS. Of course, you are free to use your own colors if you like some other ones nicer, but this is just like a demonstration of the process. Okay, so as you can see, we got some color variation, we got nice rocks, and basically we're done. So I'm just gonna add a nether box around this one as well, and I'm going to call this adjustment and color. And these are our scattered rocks. So if we go back, let's see them a little bit more in context. And this is it. So as you can see, we have like some different looking rocks, smaller, big ones, scattered predominantly in the flat areas around, like where we expect rocks they fall to kind of stop. And that's it for this lesson.